You think you know Antarctica, right? A huge empty wasteland of ice and, well, more ice. But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if buried beneath that frozen exterior lies a hidden world of blood-red waterfalls, ancient rainforests, and creatures that defy all explanation? Get ready, because we're about to uncover 25 bizarre secrets about Antarctica that will completely change how you see the most mysterious continent on Earth. Fact 1. Antarctica is home to a petrifying blood falls. Our journey starts at one of Antarctica's most disturbing landmarks. Blood falls. For over 100 years, a gruesome 5-story tall waterfall pouring out of the Taylor Glacier baffled scientists. The man who discovered it in 1911 figured it was just red algae, but the real story is so much weirder. The water is actually flowing from a subglacial lake that's been trapped for over 1 million years, completely sealed off from light and air. This ancient water is so loaded with iron that when it finally hits oxygen, it literally rusts in mid-air, staining the ice a ghastly crimson color. It's like a geological wound that's been bleeding for millennia. Fact 2. A massive, football-sized egg was found there. In 2011, researchers stumbled upon a fossil that looked like a deflated football and nicknamed it the Thing. For almost 10 years, nobody had a clue what it was. Finally, microscopic analysis confirmed it was a 66-million-year-old soft-shelled egg, the largest ever discovered and the very first of its kind in Antarctica. So what laid it? The prime suspect is a giant, 20-foot-long marine reptile, like a mosasaur. The discovery sparked a huge debate among paleontologists, as it was widely believed these massive sea monsters gave live birth instead of laying eggs. Fact 3. There are ancient rainforests buried under the ice. It's almost impossible to picture, but Antarctica was once covered in a lush, temperate rainforest. In 2020, scientists drilling for sediment cores on the seabed were shocked when they pulled up 90-million-year-old forest soil. The sample was so perfectly preserved, it contained ancient pollen, spores, and even a dense network of fossilized roots with visible cell structures. This proves that back in the age of the dinosaurs, swampy rainforests, just like those in modern-day New Zealand, thrived near the South Pole, somehow surviving months of total polar darkness. Fact 4. It's the world's largest desert. That sounds like a complete paradox, but it's true. Antarctica is technically a polar desert. See, a desert isn't defined by being hot, but by its lack of rain, or in this case, snow. The continent is so incredibly cold and dry that it gets less than 200 millimeters of precipitation a year on average. The deep interior, known as the polar plateau, is even drier, receiving less than 50 millimeters annually. That's less than the Sahara. The snow that does fall never melts, it just keeps piling up, forming the colossal ice sheets we see today. Fact 5. Antarctica has its own Grand Canyon, but it's hidden. Buried under miles of ice lies a canyon system so massive it rivals the Grand Canyon. Discovered using ice-penetrating radar, the Ellsworth subglacial highlands hide a trench that's over 300 kilometers long and 3 kilometers deep. This immense geological scar was carved by ancient rivers and glaciers long before the continent was flash-frozen. It's a ghost of a landscape, a reminder that an entire complex world is hiding right under our feet. Fact 6. There are hundreds of hidden lakes. Beneath Antarctica's frozen skin, there's a massive interconnected network of over 400 subglacial lakes. The most famous, Lake Vostok, is one of the largest lakes in the world, all while being buried under 2.5 miles of solid ice. These lakes stay liquid thanks to geothermal heat from the Earth's core and the crushing pressure of the ice above. In a stunning 2025 discovery, satellite data revealed 85 previously unknown active lakes that are constantly filling and draining, influencing how fast glaciers slide into the ocean. Fact 7. A secret ecosystem was found by accident. In 2022, scientists were drilling through the Larsen ice shelf, hoping to sample an underground river. When they lowered a camera 1,600 feet down into a dark cathedral-like cavern, they got the shock of their lives. Suddenly, their camera lens was swarmed by hundreds of tiny shrimp-like crustaceans called amphipods. It was a thriving ecosystem, completely cut off from the outside world and living in total darkness. And it was a total surprise. It just goes to show that life finds a way in the most extreme places imaginable. Fact 8. The largest land animal is a tiny midge. Forget penguins and seals, they're posers who rely on the sea for food. The largest animal that lives entirely on Antarctic land is a wingless midge called Belgica antarctica. This tiny insect is only 2 to 6 millimeters long and evolved to be wingless, so it wouldn't get blown away by the continent's insane winds. It spends most of its 2-year life as a larva, tough enough to survive being frozen solid and losing over half its body's water. Fact 9. Some fish have antifreeze for blood. The water surrounding Antarctica is so cold it should freeze any fish solid. But the Antarctic icefish has a superpower. It's the only known vertebrate on the planet without red blood cells or hemoglobin, which makes its blood completely clear. To survive the frigid temperatures, it evolved to produce natural antifreeze proteins in its blood. These proteins act like guards, stopping ice crystals from forming in its cells and body fluids, allowing it to thrive in the sub-zero water. Fact 10. Weddell seals navigate using an internal GPS. For years, scientists were stumped. How could Weddell seals hunt for hours under vast, solid sheets of ice, yet always find their way back to a single breathing hole? It turns out they might have a sixth sense. Research strongly suggests they use the Earth's magnetic field as a natural GPS. This incredible ability would make them the first marine mammal confirmed to have a magnetic sense, letting them build a mental map of their underwater world to navigate flawlessly in the dark. Fact 11. There are no polar bears. This might seem obvious, but it's a super common mix-up. Polar bears and penguins live at opposite ends of the globe. Polar bears are from the Arctic. Think Canada, Russia, and Greenland. Penguins are found almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere, with the most famous species like emperors and adelies living in Antarctica. So no, you'll never see a polar bear and a penguin hanging out in the wild. Fact 12. Emperor penguins perform a wave to stay warm. Male emperor penguins are some of the toughest dads on Earth, spending the brutal winter incubating eggs on their feet in temperatures that drop to -50 degrees Celsius. To survive, they form huge, dense huddles of thousands. But this isn't just a static mob. The huddle is constantly, slowly rotating, like a living vortex. Penguins on the freezing outer edge gradually move into the warm center. Scientists observed this movement happens in waves, like a ripple in a pond, making sure every single penguin gets a turn in the life-saving warmth. Fact 13. There's a hole the size of Maine. In 2017, satellites spotted something shocking in the middle of the Weddell Sea, a massive hole in the sea ice. This area of open ocean, called a polynya, spanned a staggering 30,000 square miles, roughly the size of Maine. While polynyas aren't unheard of, one this gigantic hadn't been seen in that area since the 1970s. It's a powerful, large-scale event that can dramatically affect ocean currents and weather patterns far beyond Antarctica. Fact 14. You can find a meteorite from Mars there. Antarctica is the single best place on Earth to hunt for meteorites. The dark space rocks are incredibly easy to spot against the endless white ice, and the cold, dry conditions preserve them perfectly. The most famous one ever found is ALH 84001, a meteorite discovered in 1984 that was blasted off the surface of Mars millions of years ago. It made global headlines in 1996 when scientists announced it might contain fossils of microscopic life, sparking a fiery debate about whether we had found evidence of ancient Martians. Fact 15. There's no official time zone. Since the only people in Antarctica are scientists at research stations, there's no official time zone. Instead, different bases just use the time zone of the country that runs them or their closest supply station. This means two research stations just a few miles apart could be living in completely different days. The South Pole is even weirder. All 24 lines of longitude converge at one point, so you can literally walk through every time zone on Earth in just a few steps. If these facts are blowing your mind, do us a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps us out, and trust us, the secrets only get stranger from here. Fact 16. More than 98% of Antarctica is covered in ice. They don't call it the White Continent for nothing. A mind-boggling 98% of Antarctica is buried under an ice sheet that is, on average, over a mile thick. This single ice sheet holds about 70% of all the fresh water on the entire planet. If it were all to melt, global sea levels would rise by a catastrophic 200 feet. The other 2% of the continent is just barren rock, mostly found on the Antarctic Peninsula and in the strange, snowless McMurdo Dry valleys. Fact 17. Strange ice sculptures are carved under the ice. In a recent expedition, an autonomous submarine named RAN was mapping the underside of the Dotson ice shelf when it discovered something incredible that satellites could never see. It found bizarre ice sculptures, weird terraced plateaus, and huge teardrop-shaped pits, all carved into the ice from below by warm ocean currents. These hidden shapes proved that the way ice melts is way more complex than we ever thought, giving us crucial new data for understanding future sea level rise. Fact 18. There is a volcano that spews gold. Hidden beneath the West Antarctic ice sheet is a chain of volcanoes. One of them, Mount Erebus, is the southernmost active volcano on Earth, and it is a certified weirdo. It's famous for its persistent lava lake, which constantly churns with molten rock. But it gets stranger. The volcano constantly spews out gas and steam loaded with tiny crystals of metallic gold, estimated to be about 80 grams a day. That's about $6,000 worth of gold dust raining down on the ice every single day. Fact 19. Antarctica is governed by a treaty, not a country. Antarctica doesn't belong to any single nation. It's governed by the Antarctic Treaty of 1959, which legally designates the entire continent as a natural reserve, dedicated only to peace and science. The treaty bans all military activity, mineral mining, and nuclear testing, making sure Antarctica stays a pristine laboratory for the whole world. 54 nations have signed on, all agreeing to cooperate to protect the continent's fragile environment. Fact 20. The coldest temperature on Earth was recorded here. Antarctica officially holds the world record for the coldest temperature ever measured on the planet. The official record, taken from a ground thermometer, was recorded at Vostok Station in 1983, a soul-crushing -89.2 degrees Celsius, -128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's not even the coldest it gets. Satellite data has measured the surface temperature of the ice dipping to an unbelievable -98 degrees Celsius, -144 degrees Fahrenheit in some spots. While not an official air temperature record, it's a reminder of just how brutally cold it can be. Fact 21. It proved continental drift. Back in 1912, during Robert Falcon Scott's doomed expedition to the South Pole, his team made a world-changing discovery. Nearly frozen to death on their return journey, they still collected fossils of a plant called Glossopteris. This was monumental because the exact same plant fossils had been found in South America, Africa, India, and Australia. It was the first hard proof that Antarctica was once fused with these other continents in the supercontinent Gondwana, providing key evidence for the radical new theory of continental drift. Fact 22. You can't work there unless your wisdom teeth are removed. This isn't some strange hazing ritual, it's a practical rule for survival. Research stations in Antarctica are some of the most isolated places on Earth, and medical help is extremely limited. A simple dental emergency, like an impacted wisdom tooth, could become life-threatening if a doctor can't treat it. So to avoid any risk, anyone staying for a long period, especially over the winter, is often required to have their wisdom teeth and even their appendix removed as a precaution. Fact 23. Ghostly anemones live under the ice. In one of the most bizarre discoveries in recent memory, scientists drilling through the Ross Ice Shelf found something they never ever expected to see. Clinging to the bottom of the ice sheet, living in total darkness and near freezing water, were thousands of ghostly translucent sea anemones. These creatures, now named Edwardsiella andrilli, actually burrow into the ice shelf itself, letting their tentacles dangle in the water to catch food. How they get there and how they survive remains a complete mystery. Fact 24. Krill are the tiny giants of the Antarctic. Antarctic krill, which look like tiny shrimp, are the absolute linchpin of the entire Antarctic ecosystem. They form swarms so dense and massive they can literally be seen from space. A single swarm can contain trillions of individuals and weigh thousands of tons. Almost every single animal in Antarctica, from penguins and seals all the way up to the mighty blue whale, depends directly or indirectly on this one tiny vital source of food. Fact 25. A hidden world was just revealed in 2025. In January 2025, a massive iceberg named A84 broke away from the George VI ice shelf, and in doing so, it uncovered a marine ecosystem that had been hidden under the ice for thousands of years. An expedition team from the Schmidt Ocean Institute raced to the site, sending a remotely operated vehicle to explore the newly exposed seafloor. What they found was a vibrant world teeming with life, including giant sea spiders, icefish, octopuses, and huge ancient coral formations, proving that a rich ecosystem had been thriving there in total darkness. It was an unprecedented glimpse into a secret world, proving that even now, Antarctica still holds profound secrets. From blood-red waterfalls and antifreeze fish to ancient rainforests buried under miles of ice, Antarctica is so much more than the empty wasteland we imagined. It is a continent of secrets, a world of extremes, and one of the last true frontiers for discovery on our own planet. Every time we dare to look beneath the ice, we find life where it shouldn't exist and landscapes we never knew were there, reminding us just how much is still left to explore. What fact shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden corners of our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. Thanks for watching.